Hey y'all, back again in the book of Galatians, and today we're in chapter 2. We'll go over verses 7 through 10, and verses 7 and 8 talk about people who have status, and they will encounter people that do not have the same or higher status as them, but that shouldn't mean that they shouldn't be able to recognize the kingdom authority within those that do not have the same status as they do, but they should be able to continue to let these people go on their way. So that was a lot, but it's basically saying that just because these people didn't go to school for it, or they didn't get promoted into it, or they didn't go out of their way to obtain it, doesn't mean that God still can't use them. See, Paul received direct revelation from God on his way to Damascus, and in a moment, Paul experienced a blinding light, and that was God literally stopping him in his tracks, stopping him from doing whatever it was that he was given to do. And Paul used to persecute Christians before he came into apostleship by God. And the sequence of events that followed that blinding moment in the road allowed him to change his heart from persecuting Christians to wanting to preach to Christians. How beautiful that only God could do something like that, right? So verse 9 talks about, so 7 and 8 talk about like church leadership and people of status. So verse 9 really kind of talks about our peers. More specifically, our peers that are more spiritually mature than we are. So when we encounter our siblings in Christ that are more seasoned than we are, when they see that we are operating within the heart that God has given us, they are able to agree with the spirit in you, not because the spirits think alike, but because they are the same spirit. Because of that, and by way of their testimony, they will be able to pour into you and bless you and encourage you on the path that God is giving you to walk on, because they will be able to help you talk out some of the trials that you're going to experience. And when your siblings in Christ kind of keep you accountable and keep you involved and immersed on the path that God has given you, that means you don't have time to worry about anything else around you. Breaking all that down, all verse 9 is really saying, when you mind your business, you don't have time to mind other people's business. Be focused on what it is that God has given you and let him worry about the rest. So verse 10 kind of picks up a little different tone, but it is in keeping with lifting people up, with being faithful to what it is that God has given you to do. Verse 10 is a gentle reminder that on the path of whatever it is that God has given us to do, we need to pick people up along the way. We need to lift them up along the way. God has given us a heart to want to do something for people. And not only has he given that to us, but we should want to do that. Back in biblical times, their economic infrastructure wasn't as sound as it is today. And though there are some similarities when you compare like what financial challenge is, we are more resourceful. We have more available to us than the biblical times. So there is no reason why we shouldn't be able to give to those who can't. Now, the challenge in all of that is giving away our time, giving away our money, giving away our resources, and thinking that we have some kind of ownership to what needs to be done with our investment for other people. And that's not fair. So all we have to do is be faithful with wanting to give and let whoever is in control of the receiving distribute our investments and efforts the way that it needs to be done. And if that is a challenge for you, ask God to change your heart about it. Ask God to show you how you can change your mindset about anything. And I guarantee he will show you opportunity after opportunity to test your faithfulness to that prayer. So in keeping with all of that, read Galatians chapter 2, verses 7 through 10, and leave me a comment with what you think those verses mean to you. And along with the Korean New Year, I would just like to say to you, 새해 복 많이 받으세요. See you next time.